Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are around this beautiful planet of ours. And today, it may not be so beautiful for some. However, we got a lot of analysis to get through today. The macro stuff, the macroeconomics, the traditional stock markets, we have the dollar, and of course, the bloody mess in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But if you're seeing this as a good opportunity, you know what to do. Smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone that has been subscribing over the last few days. We have been going absolutely gangbusters on the channel, covering this market bottoming process. Yes, my analysis has not changed. I put out some big titles here. Kiss your 10K goodbye. Lots of stuff like that. And yes, I'm getting some feedback from you guys, which is what we're here to do, about these particular calls that we've been saying. What I do say at the beginning of this video to you that are just reading those titles, please do go back and watch these videos for the understanding of what that call means. There are particular signals that we watch for on the macro charts to give us an understanding of what we could expect next. And in the case of the 10K Bitcoin, we could kiss that goodbye if we saw some upside targets met, right? So what we are seeing right now, that's exactly what's in that video days ago. Go back and check it. But today, I want to get through a lot of the macro stuff on the S&P, the US dollar, silver, and of course, the Wyckoff schematic. Look at what we have been covering here and checking out these particular lows. A quick reminder, we've got our free alpha report coming out. It's basically our newsletter here, but crypto alpha, real estate cycles, the bottoming process of the market. Go and check it out. Top of the video description, name, email address, and this is coming out within 12 hours now. So if you don't get your name in, don't worry, you'll get the next one, but do it as soon as you can so you can get this free alpha report that we got coming out for the Investor Accelerator subscribers. All right, as I said, big video. Let's start with the traditional markets quickly and first, and then we dive into Bitcoin and cryptos because things aren't as crazy in the for the rest of the world as what they're seeing in cryptocurrency right now. S&P 500 closed out up only 0.5%, but it's still a green day going up here. This still looks like a weak rally to me. We got a nice bounce off 50%, which, you know, I guess they're expecting it these days, especially understanding Gann analysis. Look at that, a rejection at 50% above here. So that was the range from the top to the bottom, a bounce off 50%. So it's to be expected, right? This is still looking a little bit weaker. I do want to see a higher low and then a break above 3,900. But for now, pretty happy with that October low for the S&P, the traditional markets, the biggest markets in the world, the stuff that the biggest players are playing in. So that's still all working out according to plan. The US dollar overnight has tested that 109.5 again. Now, I did put out a call back here in September, basically saying, I think the top is in. We've talked about that a lot, where it could go. Maybe this is a churning process. We go to 118 or test 115 again. This is important for our cryptocurrency analysis as well. But I just want to come back to this because every time this market bounces up, we had a drop here to 110, we had a bounce up. There's a lot of people saying you'd called it too early. Maybe, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. What we need to pay attention to is what the chart is telling us. And right now, it keeps showing us lower highs upon lower highs, breaking to lower lows. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter whether I said this was a top and so far it's been right for the last month and a half. Doesn't even matter. Doesn't matter what I said. What matters is what the chart is telling us. And all I'm trying to do here is read the chart as best as I can and then present that data to you guys. By all means, go away and do your own research on this as well. But if the chart is saying down, let's respect what it's saying for that process. And for now, 109.5 is getting tested again. The week has not closed yet, but we got a few days to go. So we're only just getting on to halfway now. Should this break down, I've said many times before, that is a weak sign, which would then mean a little bit more strength to the rest of the commodities. And we have seen just that in silver pumping up. For the members, I talked about silver being a good buy underneath 21 US an ounce. I posted to our members, so that's our TIA premium members over here that you can get access to. Just if I wanted to get some silver, which I ended up buying at $18.60. So basically back down here, it's up a little bit. Great. You know, that's the thing that we talk about here when we look at our investing on a holistic sense. Don't worry, I'm getting to the cryptocurrencies, but I just want to go through these particular assets based on the other macros that are going on here. So silver looking not too bad. Now over to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, the big dumps. We're going to get to Bitcoin, we're going to get to Binance, we're going to get to FTX, Ethereum, total market caps, lots to go. The accumulation zones for the Wyckoff schematic. Now, we've looked at this many, many times in the past, going across to Bitcoin on the macro scale, looking at how this could potentially be playing out for BTC again. There's no confirmation until the tops are broken, and so far that top is 25,200, which goes back to this particular video here. So I'm just going to save you some time if you don't want to see the whole analysis of how it happens, but I suggest you do. Kiss your 10K goodbye would be if we broke past 25,200, which is a monthly swing top. It is a macro key level in the market. Now, that's what we need to see to kiss that 10K goodbye. 10K is still not out of the question, but I'm still on the side of it, of saying that we're not going to get to that 10K from this point. I think, like I've said for the entire period here, it could be some sort of drop. And if it is a drop, it's going to be a quick drop, somewhere between that 11, 12, 13, probably more likely 14 to 16K should we get there. I'm not saying it will happen. Yes, we've had so far, a slightly lower low than the June low. The June low was 17,567. Now we've got 17,500, dead on the money, nice clean round number. We don't even have to change the things that we're saying because essentially it was 17.5 and now it's 17.5, dropped $67 lower. The beauty about this low is that it cleans up the timing of the cycle. It helps my OCD with the timing. This is something that I posted in February of this year, going back 9 months now, looking at a 4-year cycle. We've got that extra slightly lower low on the spot chart. On the futures chart, which we'll get to, is a much lower low, which is nice to see. So it's a nice clean out. There are some big signals coming out here for the low in progress. And I said many, many times before, this takes months. It takes months. And, I posted this on Twitter just before. And, I think this is interesting. Not a troll. Okay. Change your mind yet, or is it finally happening? I think the main thing here is always to review the videos before making some claim on the title, because there is the case of this, but you need to understand where and why. And so overall, which I think is pretty good, my mind is not changed. And it doesn't matter about my reputation. What matters in the long run is your bank account and my bank account if you're making profits. All of this crap on Twitter and YouTube, although it's fun, and yes, I get into it, maybe we all do, at the end of the day, none of this shit matters. What matters is what's in your bank account. And are you able to make a difference in your life, in your family's life, friends' life? You know the old story, so that you can create that financial freedom to get out of whatever, grind or job that you're in that you want to get out of. Or if you just want to make some more money to go on holidays, you love what you do already, and this is just for a bit of fun. That's the main thing here. It doesn't matter about me or whatever. As soon as you turn this video off, it's over, right? So for Bitcoin, this is the low. The timing's working out. We drop it down to a weekly chart. We are starting to see some of that, the volume coming in again. Not bad for only 2 days into the week. And if we go back down to a daily chart, this volume is getting quite extreme. So there's a few indicators that are coming together here. Now, a big critical thing here, if I drop down again into a closer view, is this low, the $18,153. And we had that low again in October on the 13th, which was the low for the stock market. So that was the cycle low so far. So that's 18,131. So for a nice clean round number there, call it 18,150. If you want to call it $200, great, 18,200. We've got an hour to go here. What we want to see for Bitcoin, critical thing for the bulls, the bears don't want this, but the bulls want this, is a nice clean close above 18,150, and the higher the better. If you can get back into this zone here of 19,000, that's even better. That's going to be stronger because we're seeing the buying come into the market towards the close. And as we know, professionals control the close. We're going up, pushing that price up after such a big scare, which is where everyone freaks out, dumps whatever they have, thinking that we're going to go lower. And yes, you can see that across social media of people saying that this has to go lower. You ready for that 10K yet? And it's like, look, we're only just broke 17.5, which was the June low. At right now, it's closing up. So no, I'm not ready for that 10K just yet. And should it break down, look, I'm still seeing something in that 14 to 16K zone, and possibly only quickly. Now, of course, before we get back to the Wyckoff, the flip side to this is, what if we are completely wrong? What do we need to see in order for this to be wrong? More so, the better terminology here is, what do the bears want? The bears want a monthly close below the June and October low. So they are the key lows in this period so far. This low right here and this low here, September and October. If that happens, that is extremely weak. And yes, you'd have a much, much stronger case for going to 10K. So far, it's not the end of the month. We've got a few more weeks left. Let's see what happens. So far, we've got extreme volume on the daily, and that's something that we usually see at lows in the markets. This is one of the highest volume days, and I'll get to that in a little more detail again. What else do they want to see? Weekly lower swing top below the June-October low. So to the weekly chart, what they want to see. These are going to be critical things that you need to watch for in the coming days. This market falling and then coming back underneath the 17.5, this will take weeks to form. Closes below that level, that would then almost definitely signal, this is like the probabilities just increase so much that we're going to see further downside. That's what the bears want to see, that lower close, that testing of previous support becoming resistance, and then the crash to the downside. But if we remain up here, then that becomes obviously far unlikely, and then we remain in this grind zone for a lot longer, rather than going up and breaking that 21.5, breaking that 25.2, and it basically just churns us out in this zone for a lot longer. But overall, this 4-year cycle is coming together reasonably well. We saw it last time in 2019, so we had that drop. Look at that, November, we had that critical time, those 2 weeks in November of 2018, so exactly 4 years ago. We got some nice, crazy, extreme emotions in the market, and then the market based out for a few months before we started to move higher. Another thing to note today, there's a lot of things going on. We had the full moon yesterday. It's again seasonal date. This is almost an exact 1 year anniversary to the all-time high. So there's a lot of things coming together here. We've got time, we've got price. Nothing is confirmed yet, but there's a lot of interesting things happening right now in the market. And we just got to be on alert for what comes next. So let's get back to the Wyckoff schematic here. We could be in two of these stages, phase B or phase C. So we got the springtime, the test, and the move up, or we're in the secondary test here in phase B, where we've just tested the selling climax. Note here on the BTC chart, so I'm using Coinbase, which has some of the highest volume. We've just tested that low, and we're starting to close up higher. For the weekly, we still have 5 days to go. For the daily, we got an hour to go. So we really need to see what happens towards the end of this week in November. But this could be the phase B testing before we see some upper side. Maybe it's phase C with the spring. You'll know if we get a higher low form and more higher lows above these previous levels of the selling climax and the secondary tests, which mean one of these lows here could have been the secondary test back at 18,150. So what does that look like? Basically, would mean that we'd need to close above the 18,150 and then come back and test it and start to work its way higher. That would be what the bulls want to see within this trading zone for BTC, which is why I say my analysis hasn't changed here. A break of the current cycle low, or the previous now cycle low of 17,567, a break of it by $67 right now doesn't mean anything has to change. We need to see what happens next. That's Bitcoin. Really interesting stuff with the Wyckoff schematic so far. I'm going to do an update of this, so make sure you're subscribed and like this video so you can see more of it. We still have plenty of data to get through. BNB, FTX, ETH. So BNB, this is one of the stronger cryptocurrencies. We've talked about it many, many times before on the channel. We got a break above the 50% zone, and you can see a nice clean wick straight back down. So unfortunately, the confirmation wasn't there for a stronger move yet. A close above $350 like we spoke about here on the channel, that would be a nice strong move. I think this may just be coming towards the end of this particular move here. Doesn't mean we're going to break this low, but sometimes they need a rest after so many weeks up. So BNB is still looking strong. None of these lows have broken here yet. So just be on alert for a good buying opportunity if you're looking to enter BNB. BNB ETH also potentially peaking out here. BNB BTC, so against the BTC chart, also potentially peaking out here. It's gone on a very, very strong run for months. So you have to expect some sort of pullback as well. As for FTT, which of course now we can see it slammed straight back down to $2.50. BNB, CZ looks like they're buying out FTX. This is what the rumors are. That's basically all we need to know right now. And in yesterday's video, I did talk about FTT not getting into these things, like I said in the video on Monday, looking at DCA and why it's a huge lie, is because we need to wait for key signals of the market breaking higher. In particular, I looked at something super simple, a break above a monthly swing top. And this is just a really nice, easy example right now. And it happened so quick. I was not expecting anything to happen this quick. Definitely not. But it's a very clean example of why it's so important for me not to DCA into cryptocurrencies before there is a confirmation of a macro change in trend. This strategy means you're not going to get the low. That's absolutely fine because I don't want to get wrecked 80% of a market getting absolutely destroyed. From this top to the low, it was actually 90%. So yes, markets can go down 90% and then down another 90%. Sure, FTX may recover from this point, but basically from that top to the bottom, 75% down, now 97% down. That may be a bottom in, especially if you start to see this thing close above the previous resistance levels of around $4 to $4.50 to $5. Either way, these were the levels that we're looking for, and it basically just sliced straight through them. That was the previous support there at $10, $11 that we talked about yesterday, and now potentially this is the bounce here at $2.50 for FTT. All right, Solana was the other one that got absolutely wrecked, but not anywhere near as much as FTT. Fortunately, super high volume. It did break the $25 low. As I've said here, and it's been on the chart for a long time, there's going to be a lot of trouble for Solana should it break and hold below $26. So if we start to get those closes. So far, $23. It did touch the level that I said further down, about 19, because it was a previous support zone. So they're the $19. That's all I'm looking for here. And it's touched that, rebounded so far. So it's finding some support for the time being. But just take a look left. If it breaks 19 and closes below that over the coming days to weeks, I'm probably going to look somewhere around $12 to $13 for the next low. And, all you have to do is go back to see how severe this could get for Solana. Not trying to throw any FUD in there. This is just support levels looking left on a chart. That's all it is. So focus on the charts. Forget the fundamentals. We thought FTX was good. We all thought that SBF was going to do good things, big things in the space, but the charts said otherwise. So this is how you can even stay safe when your fundamentals are telling you something else, or when your thoughts are telling you something else. Even though I thought personally that SBF was going to be big in this space, and he may still well be big, the chart said don't buy. So I can have one thought, but as long as I act on what the information is telling me on the chart, I'll stay safe, I'll make money, and more importantly, I'll save money. Remember the big rules. You want to save money before you start to make it. And the chart was also telling us that Binance is strong. It basically broke its previous all-time high against its Bitcoin value. It's up strongly against ETH. It was holding up very, very well against its USD value. At least this is what we're seeing for now compared to the rest of the market. So again, the charts just told us what the market, smart money, was doing. All right, let's go to ETH. So we've covered all that now, and looking at ETH on the daily, we've got extreme volume. We're on a seasonal date, potentially a higher low. I always say potentially because there's no confirmation just yet. We've got an hour to close, but it's good to see that it's holding above the October 13th low. So this is a big day on high volume. That's what you want to see. And the next thing we want to see is a higher close. A close above these levels would be absolutely amazing, above $1,400. I'm just not sure if it's going to get there by the time this market closes. Hopefully it does, and that would be another strong sign for Ethereum. But for now, it's at least holding up above all of these previous lows. And should this be the low, that's at least a good start for it to continue its strength towards that upper side again. Overall, massive, massive volume. Like we talked about for Bitcoin, you can see how big this volume is compared to the rest of its entire history. Coinbase is a good chart to look from because there is a lot of volume there. Why is the volume important? Well, this is just letting us know what the smart money is doing, what the smart money and the dumb money is doing. There's a lot of activity going on, and so far we're seeing that a lot of this activity is trying to support the price at around $1,200. Should we get that higher close, that's even more strength to Ethereum. Onto the weekly chart, just stepping it out one step further just to get rid of some of that noise. You can see that we are starting to climb here, 5 days to go. What you want to see now for ETH is for the volume to get up somewhere that it has done in the past. At least the daily is extremely high, which gives us some sort of signal. So overall for Bitcoin and ETH is obviously the stronger of the two. Bitcoin is closing higher than those previous lows. Obviously FTX, FTT token, absolutely crushed. Solana not looking as good either. I did want to have a quick look at the Bitcoin futures market because this crashed down more than the spot market so far, 16,800. So a nice clean low here, giving us a new low. But the good news for the futures market, at least so far, let's go to the daily, is that we are attempting to close that little bit higher. So $18,080. So keep an eye on this. You definitely want to see this market close above all of these previous lows, at least for that short-term sign for the bulls to regain some sort of control to then push that little bit higher. All right, almost out of breath. The total cryptocurrency market cap. This is the October low that it's tested, and now it's pushed back above it. So although it sounds like we're potentially getting a fair bit of strength come into the market for this low, there isn't any 100% confirmation. This would essentially be the higher risk, higher reward play that gives some interesting and signals, some really good, interesting signals that can be worked upon from here, meaning the high volume, the seasonal data coming together, the tests of previous major support levels on the macro charts. So you can start to see that a lot of this pattern is coming together. Of course, the flip side, as there always is, because this is what happens when we trade, is that we get a breakdown past the June low for the cryptocurrencies. But I've said many, many times before, which I'll leave a link to these particular videos at the end of this one, why I don't like DCAing into cryptocurrencies before the macro signals tell me the market is ready to turn. So I hope that's given you some insight as to what potentially the smart money is doing in the market. That's my read of the traditional markets, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, what's happened with FTT, Solana, Binance, and also what is happening in the traditional markets, as I just said, which don't seem to be crashing as hard today as cryptocurrencies have. So maybe that's another sign that this could be short-lived for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And one last funny thing here is, if this is not a market bottoming sign, I don't know what is. US economists predicting major global market turmoil. If you are unaware of who this man is right here, this is Harry Dent. He has called 10 of the last 2 economic downturns. Essentially, it's a joke for economists. He predicts bad times every single day of the year for the last 20 years and has missed bull markets. And this is now on Australian TV, going out just a few days ago. Some big views here. If they actually had comments open, you'd probably see that people are absolutely tearing this apart, because what generally happens, at least to the public, is you start to see these figureheads at the bottoms of the market. Now he's over here in Australia trying to tell us that things are going to get bad, but it might be all right for Aussies eventually. Essentially, this happens almost every single low. Looking at this for traditional markets, keep that in mind. This is just what I do as an investor of the last 16 years, is have a look at when these things happen. You're not really going to see Harry on the news. They don't want them on the news when the market's at the top. They just want them at the bottoms. And this is generally a pretty good sign that we are in a bottoming process. Traditional stock markets, I think potentially for Bitcoin, potentially for ETH, as I said, for cryptocurrencies many times, we might need to wait it out just a little bit longer, wait for some more key macro levels. At the moment, nothing has really changed. Things are still as they are, as we've been talking about on the channel here. So make sure you are subscribed, bell notification icon, check out the videos that are popping up here on the left-hand side to get more in-depth understanding of this. And do not forget to drop your name and email address for our free Crypto Alpha newsletter coming out in less than 12 hours. All right, hope to see you over on Twitter and Instagram for Q&As. Links are all down below. Don't get scammed out there. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace out.